Well, if you're watching this video, thanks for watching. You've probably got an interest in estate agency, self-employed estate agency, the EXP model, maybe other models as well, and maybe you're curious as to maybe my story as to why I joined EXP over all other options. And I've got to wind the clock back circa 3 years, middle of the pandemic, and I'd left Purple Bricks, a model which I'm sure is familiar to many listening or watching to this video. And I knew I wanted to do my own thing. Now was my chance. The idea of life after PB, of getting a job and sitting in an estate agency office, being a branch manager or an area director, it just wasn't for me. I wanted to fall in love with why I enjoyed estate agency in the first place, and that's sitting in living rooms, doing valuations, winning the business, securing sales, and getting a pat on the back from my clients and buyers alike, and moving on from there. That was what I loved and did best, and that's what I wanted to do. That's where I'm most happiest. And well, I was exploring lots of other avenues and models, and what attracted me to EXP specifically was the fact that, well, I got to trade as me. And that was important to me. I wanted to have my name in lights, brand Simon Taylor on the for sale boards and the sold boards. And Simon Taylor talked about in local communities rather than me building and promoting somebody else's brand. I'd been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I thought, well, if I'm going self-employed, I want to make it all about me, right? And EXP gave me that option to do so. I looked into the idea of maybe, why do I need EXP? Do I need anybody? Maybe I'll do it completely on my own. And I'd had conversations with Rightmove and Zoopla, and they offered me a relatively decent subscription rate for the first 6 months. But then after that, the costs just become eye-wateringly high. So I ruled out going completely solo and doing it my own way. Costs were too prohibitive, and I didn't want to use all my cash flow just in case it didn't work out, and also to invest in my own brand building and marketing in my local area. So EXP, they let me trade as me. They gave me Rightmove and Zoopla all for 150 quid a month, including VAT. And I thought, well, that's a bit of a no-brainer, really. If it doesn't work out, it's cost me 150 quid a month. What's that? A couple of meals out and a couple of cinema tickets a month. If it doesn't work out after 6 months, I can stomach that loss. I'll have learnt a lesson or two. I can always say, well, I gave it a good bash. I gave it a go. It wasn't for me. But at least I can say, well, I don't regret giving it a go, right? I'll have learnt from that, and experience will stand me in good stead. So I got going, and all of a sudden I started getting instructions and more instructions, and the first few instructions I found were already on my radar, people in my phone. And I've learned over the years that if you don't ask, you don't get. And I made everyone aware that I was doing my own thing. This is what I was doing now. And does anybody need any help? Or does anybody know anybody that needs any help? And the first few instructions were people that I knew, from people that I'd sold for previously that were selling again. And I also had a couple of buyers who'd been in 2-bed flats that I'd sold them 3-4 years ago, and now they wanted to sell, and they came back to me, right? Which I was proud of, and I made it clear to many people that, I wasn't charging Purple Bricks fees anymore. I was doing my own thing now. I was considerably more expensive, and they wanted to still use me, and that made me realise that, this market, the property market in the UK, it's not fee driven. Might be for some, but for 95% plus of people, they just want somebody that they can relate to, and can trust, and that was my first flurry of instructions. And now I have put my fees up at EXP. I was, when I first started, 1%. Now I'm typically 1.5%, and some of the training that EXP have given me the confidence to do that, to put my fees up, and tactics and tricks and ways really just to express and articulate the value that you can add. So I've learned a lot from EXP in terms of the training that they've done. Never before had I done much social media, but now you'll find me on Instagram and Facebook groups and LinkedIn, where maybe you've seen me before. So this was all new to me, but I've grown in confidence, and when I first started doing video it was very nerve-wracking, but I've got into the groove of it. And a big thing for me at EXP is the fact that, well, I choose to give 5% of my commission from every transaction to EXP, so that they can invest that for me in EXP shares. So EXP is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and every time I do a deal, I buy 5% of my commission goes to buy shares at a 10% discount to market value. And as a 42-year-old with young kids, I'm thinking, I've always got one eye on the future. I think that's, I don't know, I noticed that time's going by far, far too quickly now, and before you know it, I'll be over the hill. So I view the shares that I take in EXP, it's optional, but 95% of agents at EXP do it. I buy shares in EXP, and they really do add up, and I'm like, crikey, when I look at my statement now, haven't they quite grown and multiplied? And some people have asked me, well, you know, Simon, now that you've made a success of EXP, or now you've proven that you can be a self-employed estate agent, why are you still with EXP? Why bother? And the honest answer is, you get addicted to having a low fee model. So 150 quid a month, I have Rightmove, Zoopla, CRM, great training, Moneypenny, the phone answering service, Regis offices. I can use a Regis office. You get kind of used to that. And the idea of me having to pay at Rightmove and Zoopla a couple of grand a month just doesn't stack it. Now, you could argue, well, what you're giving EXP every year is equivalent to what you're giving Rightmove, and the answer would be yes, that's possibly true, but there's a great network of EXP agents, there's a great referral program of EXP agents, I've got instructions that I wouldn't necessarily otherwise have got. As I say, the training's really good, and the shares are really good, and there's also an element of EXP called revenue share, where if you're introducing another agent, because it is a no-brainer model for me anyway, but if you do introduce an agent to the EXP fold, wherever they are in the world, because EXP is a global brand, so it could be in France, Israel, Portugal, Mexico, Dubai, wherever, you receive a small remuneration gift from EXP, and that can quickly snowball as well. I don't know, maybe my story is of interest to some. If it is, and maybe you want to have a chat with me on a one-to-one, I'm more than happy to share my experiences, warts and all. The only closing words I will leave you are this, that whatever model that you go with in today's world of self-employed estate agency, and I hope you would agree with me that it does seem to be evolving and changing and coming to the UK in a very big way. I was agent 72 at EXP, and there's now nearly, I think, 350 to 400 of us now, and that's predicted to grow. But whatever model you choose to go with, the only one that can really fill your diary is you, right? So looking at an empty diary, as I had, it was up to me to fill it. The days of working for the likes of Purple Bricks, where the marketing machine fill your diary with lots of evaluations, that ain't happening with any model in the self-employed sphere. But what they do is give you all the tools and the tricks and the strategies to get the valuations, to put yourself out there. And it is very rewarding and very fulfilling knowing that you've done everything from canvassing or touting for that business or putting posts on social media, and then just seeing that journey all the way through to gaining an instruction and seeing it through to successful completion. As I say, if you want to have a chat with me, give me a shout at any time. Thanks for listening and watching.